I don't have music on. I'm listening to copyrighted music, so I don't have any on for the stream because I upload these to YouTube after so other people can watch them. Um, and sometimes it cuts out the audio if I don't if I have copyrighted music on. So just in case I don't put music when I'm listening to copyrighted music. I can't believe it was because of a capitalization. At least I got it figured out though. That's crazy. Actually, can I do um, forget the syntax for this? Yeah, tachyons. I feel like that won't really work. Yeah. So we're gonna have to add margin on the SVG. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is there's a style of icons that I think I want to use, but I need to be careful with how they look at this size. So I haven't finished all the icons, but I'm trying to test out sizing and spacing, mainly spacing for these to kind of see how they look. Because styling can obviously be changed, but the spacing around the elements is kind of what I'm worried about. Because I'm trying to go on a 2 scale, so 2s and 4s, 6s, 8s, and so on. And we have the 2 border around it. But the thing is, like, obviously this looks like a good spacing here, which is what this icon is using. Like, it looks fine here, but obviously it looks a lot smaller here. It doesn't look bad, but I'm going to be testing out the icons as I go. I'm going to have to change these to be like a component at some point, probably. Same way that the logo one is. So this isn't permanent, it's just for testing. Yeah. Especially in React too, like you can't use components if the component name isn't capitalized, and it's like it drives me crazy sometimes. I remember on stream actually I had an issue with that. You guys might remember that. It was really funny. But I'm glad we got that figured out. I'm not set on this tracking icon, but I do want to test it just in case. So export. If you guys haven't used SVGs before, this is an easy way to do it. You just view the code and then you can pull this out. I'm just going to take the path and reuse the same SVG that we were using there. Okay. So spacing isn't bad. That's like the most important thing to me when it comes to icons. Parakeet's primaries are probably my favorite icon set. I would use them if they weren't too expensive. They're like, I mean, they're definitely worth $200, but I just don't have $200 to spend. So I kind of like to use them for reference and spacing, really. I really like the spacing that Parakeet has used on these. So I try and keep this open and kind of just look at overall spacing sometimes, and then I have some other references in here. No, I have a bucket. No, that's not what I want. It's kind of funny though, because I've been doing a lot of icon work at work outside of client stuff that I've been doing. So I'm excited to work on icons for Livtra. We're definitely not going to go with like colored icons here because I just don't think it fits. So I think that sizing is good. Or maybe it should be the same height as the capital letters. Let's see. So we don't touch the view box, if I'm correct here. I mean, that makes more sense why I was being confused, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I know how to use SVG icons, and this is just not working for some reason. And then it just turns out it's the capitalization. Yeah, I think that looks better. To me, that's definitely cutting it close on spacing though, because I'm on a Retina screen, so obviously it looks fine for me. But that's going to be a tough call when it comes to non-Retina screens, unfortunately. And I don't want to use threes in terms of spacing on icons, because even numbers are a lot easier to use and to keep track of. Like, for example, here, you know, you have 2 all around. But if we're doing like 3 here, that's fine. But the thing where it gets annoying is 3 here, because then these are different sizes instead of being the same size, like different widths for each of these columns, which is kind of annoying. I'm gonna try this though, just to see. Let's go ahead, take a screenshot, just to have this. And then they just look awkward to me with that spacing. Export. See that? Wow. Yeah, that spacing feels way better. And then I think I'm fine to go a little bit smaller. Yeah. So that, to me, that seems like it would be better on a non-Retina screen than the other one. But even if I keep them this size, this feels a lot better. Save this. SVG? Oh, it does. Cool. I think I like the white better. And let's do the tracking one that has 3. Can I? Oh, telling you, the 3 spacing is really weird. See, now it doesn't even work correctly because this needs to be there. Try this. Well, I'm going to try and keep them with that styling just because it feels way better with that amount of spacing. And let's go ahead. Oh, this is already at 4 spacing. Let's try 5. All right, so now for upgrade. Haven't done any sketches for the upgrade one, so I don't really think there's a way I can show you sketching. Unless you're fine looking at this, but it's upside down. But really, what I do for icons, I just write kind of what the title is, so upgrade. And then I usually list like items that, or subjects that I think could fit. So like money, what do people usually do for pro? Money. Let's see. Check the noun project too. I like using the noun project just to get an idea for subject matter. Usually there isn't great designed icons here, but there's a lot of, in terms of like subject matter, to help you kind of visualize things. Yeah, so like a rocket. Try and do that. Plus sign. Makes sense too. Where's my charger? I feel like this one doesn't really need to be too complicated. So thinking just like a circle, the up arrow or plus icon could do. And obviously I'd do glyphs for these instead of outlines. I really don't like outline icons. I think rocket is kind of cheesy. And then we could do money, but that also might be a little bit off-putting because you're giving money. And you don't want that to be the focus, really. You're kind of getting a better features for what you're working, or for the app you're using. It's not really just like, hey, give us your money. So really think I'm just gonna go simple here. Nothing crazy, just either a plus or an up arrow. My dogs just watch the window. It's so funny. Okay. So I like to use a border of 2 around the edges, like I mentioned earlier. And then I haven't worked on with strokes yet, So I'm not sure how thick we want the stroke to be. I will fix this after. Well, actually, we're doing the threes. That's another thing is like, if you use 3 for spacing, then you have to do 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on and so forth. Whereas for 2, you have smaller, better increments of 2, 4, 6, 8. So that kind of sucks. Can't do that. I could change my preferences. Let's see. Do every 3. No, that's not what I want. I feel like that kind of limits me too. I guess I'll just go back to what it was at. So we have the 3. I feel like that's not going to be enough room, especially because we'll probably make this a bit thicker. Does this look wrong? Yeah, it's definitely not right. It's because we're using the 3s, I think. See, this is why I don't like using 3s. Let's see. Just trying to lock in at a weird spot. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear you. Stop. So, looks like the spacing is inconsistent. So I think this kind of sucks. I think I'm gonna have to go 3-point. Just to make sure it's consistent. Let's see. Seems too much. But let's see how it looks in context. Doesn't feel right. Not sure why either. Can't really. Guess it is the same. I think what's throwing me off now is the spacing around the arrow. Doesn't seem right to me. Okay, so that should make it right on the line, right? Yeah. That might help to keep it within that second box in here. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, this feels better. It feels small compared to the other ones. which obviously I don't think is true. What are you guys doing? Just watching outside, barking at people. Okay, so I guess the rule of thumb is the 3 lines of spacing, and then using that second grid to my advantage for circles, circle icons. Stop. No one's here. No one is here. Okay, the last thing, let's try the plus icon. See if I like that one better. Sorry about my dogs, really annoying. Actually, I think I'm going to definitely keep the arrow. Maybe not the arrow, but I definitely won't go with the plus over the arrow because plus feels like new, which I want to reserve for this, obviously. Might even put an icon here. We can try that, actually, and see what that looks like, too. So, new. Don't think this works if I just put a path. I really don't think that works. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So let's grab this. It's actually weird. I need to be careful with that because for here and on when we're creating new, the icon is on the right, and for these, the icon is on the left. Should actually change the color of this too when I implement it. So I'm gonna try putting this on the right. I feel like it's gonna look weird, but let's see. So that's just the sizing. So obviously I'm not gonna leave it like that. It actually looks better from the the right. I think that's one of those inconsistencies between these two that's okay. I even just leave the plus in text form, just because I don't know, I feel like it does the job. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. So those icons look pretty good. So it's good that I have the set style now. And then let's go ahead, change this color. Actually, just in case, I'm going to grab it from the CSS so there's no inconsistency. Cool. So I'm going to have to figure out a component that you can just say what type of icon you want, and then having those all named correctly, and then it'll just render based on the string that you say. So you could do like icon equals up arrow or something, or tracking or something like that. You can do that. I don't think that would be too hard. You can just have different SVGs that render depending on that, or different paths that render depending on that, and then you can just wrap it in an SVG. That's what I'm thinking. Who knows if it'll actually work, but we'll see. Space Shuttle poster. Oh, that's from Aaron Draplin. He has a series of those on his site. This is an older one of them, but he does like limited edition runs of like 150 of different styles of them. So he has a bunch of different colorways. I actually got that one when I met him in person. He came to speak at my college, which was pretty cool. But that's where I got that one. So I'm going to leave these icons in here for now until I can get to that. And then I do like the style of those and kind of what they symbolize. So I'm going to go ahead and cross those off. I'm going to leave count for later. Delete, we can do that. Obviously, that's just going to be a trash can just because that's the easiest. Easiest for people to recognize. So let's see if we can do it based on that, the spacing and stuff. So again, I like to use the 2 border. And then we're going by threes, so we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feels like this is going to be too big, so I might change it. I want to see how Parakeet does their trash can. Yeah, it feels like this is going to be too thick. Let's see, 3 from the sides. Pretty sure I did 3 for the weight. See, like using the 3 spacing just feels weird to me. Like, well, I guess when it's that size, that's why it's fine. I guess just building them at this size feels weird because of that. It's always hard to build a consistent icon set because of that. It's like having all the sizing fit for every single icon. Not really. I just use a grid. You can turn on the grid in view, snap to grid, and then you can hide and show the grid with command quotes. And then you can set your subdivisions. So I just have 8 by 8. And then I just build based off that and try and keep it consistent. I gotta go do something really quick. I'm going to stop the stream, but I'm going to start it back up in probably like 10 minutes. I have to grab something, so I'll be right back.